Hi, I'm Ree from mummyof4.com. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm sharing with you the tales of my 4 childbirths. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. I share parenting tips, tricks, hacks and advice, all of the things that I've learned the hard way having 4 children that I share with you so you can take the shortcuts I wish I had. I've always had it in my head that childbirth's kind of a scary, dangerous thing since I was a little girl. Because when I was 7 and my younger sister was 6, my mum had another baby and she had eclampsia. She had full-blown eclamptic fit and kidney failure and nearly died. So from the age of 7, I was quite aware that there were complications and things could potentially go quite wrong. So when I had signs of preeclampsia coming on with Dylan, who's my eldest, I had no qualms about when they wanted to induce me earlier. I got to 39, nearly 40 weeks. You know, it's a case of, I've always felt then when the symptoms come on, baby's safer out than in. So it's like, right, okay, time to get him out. I already had a few hospital admissions by then. So I went in to be induced. I had the pessary, which is loads of fun. But labour started quite quickly with just the one pessary. I think I had the tablet one with Dylan. There are 2, aren't they? There's the string kind and the tablet kind, and you give the string kind if you're not quite, your cervix isn't quite soft enough, and you get the tablet kind if your body's slightly further along. So I had the tablet kind. Labour started quite naturally. My waters broke as I was trying to get onto the bed, so there was a big kind of whoosh of yuck. So that was fun. And then I walked up to labour ward. So the induction started sort of first thing in the morning. I don't know, after lunch I had twinges. By 10 o'clock in the night, I was in a considerable amount of pain. I didn't know anything about hypnobirthing at this stage. Considerable amount of pain. I'd had gas and air, I had pethadine, which is like a knitting needle in your leg, and then walked up to labour ward, and he was born about 2 in the morning, I think. Gosh, I should know these times, shouldn't I? I get confused. One of them was 2:42, that was either Dylan or William, not sure. Anyway, 7 years later, I had William, and the birth story was very, very similar. I had preeclampsia coming on again. This time I do remember crying on the way to the hospital, thinking, because obviously I was leaving behind my child to go and have another child, and I was aware it was all very dangerous. Even though childbirth for most people, by the way, is not a dangerous thing at all. Just in my head, it was dangerous. So I was off to the hospital, I cried my eyes out, got over that, had my induction medication, had exactly the same thing again, had the pessary. They said it wasn't working, and I was doing that thing where you sort of sit on the ball, you know, bounce around on the ball. They said it wasn't working, but they were really, really busy and I needed another pessary. And by the time they came back, full-blown labour had started. They tried to send my husband home, and then I was like, no, you can't go anywhere, it's starting now. So he stuck around. The labour started, and then again they made me walk up to labour ward. There wasn't any room on labour ward, so I was labouring downstairs, and then they found me a room to go up to labour ward. So they kind of put me in this little room behind the nurse's station, or behind the midwife's office. And then as I stood up off this ball thing to go and walk up to labour ward, and went there, because it was just like a big flood. They then let me walk up to labour ward, I do remember, with all this amniotic fluid dripping all through the corridors and through the lift, which wasn't very pleasant, quite disgusting actually. So yeah, yuck. Felt sorry for anyone who was using the lift after me. So went up to labour ward, had again, I think it was gas and air and pethadine. I didn't know anything about hypnobirthing when I was having either of the boys, and I can just remember trying to climb out of my own skin because I was in so much pain and I didn't know how to cope with it. The gas and air makes you a little bit loopy. I can remember knowing I was being kind of drunk annoying, but I didn't really care. I can remember them talking to me sort of like a child, but sort of knowing on a level that I needed it as well, because I was a bit off my face. He was born, again, early hours of the morning. I think he was 2:42 actually. One of them was about 3ish, one of them was about 2ish. Anyway, they all blur into one when it comes to 2 little details like that. I should probably look it up in their baby books. So he was born, everything was fine. I was sent home quite quickly after Will. I think he was born early hours in the morning and I was home by lunchtime, which was quite nice, and no further complications. I do remember, because we'd agreed we were going to stop at 2, I can remember the first thing I thought was, is he okay? And was he, I wasn't processing, he was crying. I said, is he okay? And my husband's like, he's crying, can you hear him? Because is he breathing? He's crying, he's fine. So that, my first reaction, is he okay? The next one is, thank God I never have to do that again, which I did, another twice. And then my third thought was, thank goodness none of my children will ever have to do that, because they are boys. Only comes into it. Fast forward another couple of years, and I was having Bella, so we'd changed our minds, decided when Will was about 1.5 to start trying for another one. So there, it ended up with it being a month off, 3 years between them. Now it was a bit traumatic when I went in to be induced with Bella, because we had other dramas going on. My auntie, who's basically like my adopted mum, came to the house so I could show her where everything was for the boys, all the stuff they needed, and just make sure everything was going to be okay for her to look after them. And as I was showing her what I needed to show her, William, my second son, spiked a fever and had a fit, literally a seizure. So obviously I panicked massively, we phoned an ambulance, he was rushed into hospital. It was all very, very dramatic. It turned out it was a febrile convulsion, which means his fever spiked so quickly that he had a fit. But obviously I was terrified. I thought he might fit again. I didn't want to leave him. I was just holding him going, I'm not going into, you can't make me. They took us to a hospital where they don't deliver babies, and I was having contractions. So my husband's like, well, if you don't hurry up and treat our son, you're going to end up having a baby here to look after as well. So funnily enough, they did hurry us along a little bit after that. But anyway, under duress, I did go in to be induced because I had to. So it was about, I don't know, 4 in the afternoon, I think my appointment was, to go in for that. So I told my husband, stay with William for as long as you can. My best friend came in to be with me while the beginning part of the induction was happening. So I had the pessary, I can't remember, I think I had the tablet pessary with her as well. And then you just kind of walk around, they tell you to walk it off. So I was walking round and round, it was just after Christmas, it was really cold, and we were walking round and round outside in the car park because the hospital was stinking hot inside and I thought I was going to pass out. So we were walking round and round this roundabout outside in the car park, literally doing laps, trying to get this baby out. All the while I was sort of panicking about my son. So she stayed with me till about midnight, but she had 2 children of her own at home. She was pregnant with her 3rd. It's like, right, okay, you need to go home now. So she went home. My husband came to be with me about 1, 2 in the morning, and again we just paced the hospital, paced and paced and paced. And the midwives were like, well, I think it's going to be a while. So I said, I'll just go home. So about 6 in the morning I sent him home because I wanted him to be there when the boys woke up, because again William was still really ill. I wanted to make sure he was going to be okay. So he went home, and then by about 8 o'clock I thought, right, this, you know, things are going quite quickly here. And bear in mind, for inductions, my previous 2 labours of under 24 hours for an induction is considered quite fast. So they'd been warned that I labour quite quickly, and obviously this was my 3rd baby, and the last 2, this was quite close, it was like less than 3 years since my last baby. So I said, look, I think I need him back now. I think something's happening. And they said, no, you look fine. You don't look like you're in pain. Now this was because I'd heard a little bit about hypnobirthing. I didn't know the full story, but I was breathing deeply and I was not clenching. I was letting things go. I wasn't squeezing. I was trying to do with my whole body what I wanted my cervix to do, which was this, not this. So anyway, I was kind of trying to talk to these midwives who were kind of mid-shift change and saying, look, I need him to come back now. So eventually someone came to examine me, but not until I'd already phoned my husband. I tried to text him and I was in so much pain. I looked at my phone and thought, I don't know how to send a text, I can't do that. So I phoned him, I think I was crying a little bit, and just said, you need to come now. And then I hung up the phone because I could not deal with, I just couldn't deal with speaking to him. I needed him there, but I couldn't deal with the conversation either. I just thought, I hope he heard me, which luckily he did. So as I was being examined, he showed up, and he came around the curtain, as you know, with the gloves, you know, it's all very dignified, isn't it? Not. So as they were examining me, they said, right, good news, you're 5 centimetres, you can go up to labour ward, because you get induced on the ward downstairs and you get sent to labour ward when you're allowed to go, and then you can have some pain relief and things on labour ward. It's all the goodies they keep on labour ward. You're not allowed anything. I think I'd had 1 paracetamol or cocodamol or something. Something a bit pants, something that would barely touch a headache was all they'd given me up to this point. And then I said, water's about to break, and then they broke all over the bed. And then I went, gotta push. And this was literally this woman hadn't taken her gloves off, my husband hadn't taken his coat off. So they examined me again and went, oh, you're 10 centimetres. And it literally went from 5 to 10, like that. They went, right, okay, and suddenly everything moves. You know, they're rushing down, pushing me on my bed through the corridor, legs still, everything exposed. Some very kind nurse threw some sheet over me to protect my modesty that I clearly didn't care about at the time. Pushed me down the corridor, got me up to labour ward and said, we're going to need to move you onto this other bed. It's like, are you joking? I need to push this baby out. I don't think you understand. But apparently you're not allowed to give birth on the beds from downstairs because they have ends on them, which is ridiculous. So they moved me, they kind of flipped me onto this other bed. So I ended up kind of on all 4s, 2 pushes and she was out. It was like, it was so quick that afterwards I was shaking. I was literally like, that was so quick. And so I don't know, shock, I guess. I think I was in shock. Anyway, so that was Bella. That was baby number 3. Baby number 4, Zara, is our miracle baby. Our miracle baby in that I had fertility treatment for the middle 2, and I didn't think I could get pregnant again if I tried. Turns out I was wrong. Polycystic ovaries, not contraception, people. Anyway, we were delighted. She's a miracle and she's wonderful. So went in to be induced with her. I was more poorly with her, so I was being induced at 37 weeks, so the induction took a lot longer. I went in, it was William's birthday on the Monday, bless him, so I went in to be induced on the Tuesday. My very good friend came to be with me. We were doing ballet plies and things in the corridor after I'd had my pessary. I had the string kind, that kind, because my cervix wasn't so favourable. That's the term the midwives use. So we were having a scream, actually. We were laughing our heads off. It was quite funny. So she was with me again, so my husband could be with the children for as long as possible, because Bella wasn't used to being away from me, and I didn't want as much disruption. And if I thought, I was quite aware that I could have been there for quite a lot longer, because the induction was happening earlier, so therefore it might take longer. So my husband came in, he brought the children in to visit that evening, then he took them home, and then he stayed overnight with me that night, and nothing was happening. I said nothing was happening. I was in pain, but it wasn't kind of, it wasn't getting there. So it was just kind of on and off, waves of contraction starting and then going all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday. By Wednesday night, I said, oh, nothing's happening, you may as well get some sleep. And literally while I was on the phone to him, I was like, I think something's happening, you should come in. He came in, he brought us some food into the canteen. The canteen was all closed, so he just brought us some food and we sat there and ate it. And I was doing my rainbow breathing, which I wish someone had told me about this before my first baby. It totally got me through it. If you want to know more about rainbow breathing, which is a technique I used to get myself through my labour with Zara, to the point where no one could even tell if I was contracting or not, check out this video I'm popping in the cards now. That will tell you all the information you need to know. So I was doing all my rainbow breathing, and all night I was sort of sitting, because I found it better to be sitting. I was sitting on a ball, leaning on the bed. Bizarrely, there was this letter on the wall saying that no men were allowed to sleep on the bed. So none of us were sleeping on the bed. My husband was sleeping propped up against a suitcase on a chair, because he didn't want to get thrown off the ward, and I was sort of leaning on the bed and doing all this breathing and things. And whenever the doctors and the midwives came in to talk to me, my husband had to tell them if I was having a contraction or not. Based on if I was having a contraction, I would smack him in the leg, which was his cue to tell everyone to stop talking to me because I was trying to focus. And then when I was kind of back in the room, I'd go, yes, and he'd say, you can talk to her now. So the next morning, a consultant came to see me. She was very softly spoken. She said, oh, it's going to be a very long time. This baby's going to quite a while, quite a while. And I thought to myself, this baby is not going to be quite a while because I can't do this for much longer. And I couldn't actually say this to her because of the level of pain I was in, and I was trying to focus on my rainbow breathing. But I knew I couldn't do it much longer. And when you know you cannot do this much longer, it means you're nearly there. It means the baby is ready to come out. It is a stage that your body hits this kind of dip where you think, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it, before you just do. Luckily, one very sensible midwife had listened to our birth story about Bella and how she was nearly born in the lift, and how as they wheeled me in to the labour room to have Bella, the only thing I had time to say was, get that television off because my baby is not being born while Jeremy Kyle is on. Thank you very much. That is not going to be the first thing she hears in the world, just before they flipped me onto the other bed and I gave birth. So this other very sensible midwife put a delivery trolley outside my room. So shortly after the consultant had left, they put me on the bed and tried to persuade me to go to sleep, which obviously was never going to happen, but I didn't have the energy to argue. So they put me on this bed, and very shortly afterwards I said, uh-oh, water's about to go, need to push. By this point I've still got my trousers on. My husband rang the bell, ran outside and went, it's now, you know, game on. Two of them came rushing in. They barely got my trousers off. They're like, we're gonna have to take your trousers off. And I can't, I'm staying here. They barely got my trousers off and she was out. I was home very, very quickly, having had Zara. Unfortunately, I was back in hospital a couple of days later with sepsis due to retained placenta, which was not much fun. So that was, I had her on the Thursday, and then Saturday night I started having violent shakes called rigors. Literally were uncontrollable shaking and fever. Luckily my husband had good sense to get me back into hospital, even though the people on the phone was very much, oh, just let us see the GP on Monday. I wouldn't have made it till Monday. So he had the good sense to get me back into hospital, where I was given IV antibiotics and I recovered. Also during that time, that was a bit traumatic. That was Saturday night, I went in to have into hospital with sepsis. On the Sunday morning, when I spoke to my husband, two of my other children had come down with chickenpox, so they could not come and visit me. So it was quite a traumatic time. And in fact, then my 3-week-old baby then got the chickenpox from them and was admitted to a different hospital for 10 days. But the moral of the story is, no matter how you give birth, as long as you get through it and you and your baby are okay, that is all that matters. So I might not have had a beautiful water birth, or, you know, a home birth or anything beautiful, and a lot of people are scared of induction, or don't want a C-section, or do want a C-section, or whatever it is. Whatever it is, it's A, your birth, your choice, and B, your birth, and really it's not your choice at all, it's your body's choice. So you can state your preferences, you can write your birth plan, and I encourage you to do that. But don't get too upset if you have to deviate from it, because as long as you and your baby are okay, that is all that matters. And at the end of the day, both myself and all my babies are okay. Even though we had all those hiccups after Zara was born, we're all still okay, and that's all that really matters. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it has been helpful. If you are due to give birth soon, good luck. Let me know in the comments when you're due. And if you had your children already, let me know in the comments. How did it go? Did you have like super easy births, or were they really, really tricky? If you have liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you have not done that already. And hit the bell to be notified when I post new videos every Tuesday, Thursday and Sunday at 7 PM. That's it from me for now. I shall see you guys very, very soon.